Hello everyone, welcome to another unedited Sunday garden stroll. We are starting inside for a reason other than just to feed the haters who hate my light. What's wrong with you people? Actually, it's oblong and it doesn't appear that way. It looks like it's round here. It's not. It's like, I don't know what angle I'd have to look at it at. But anyway, it's like, it doesn't matter. But a lot of people apparently don't like my light. I do. So the light's staying. I wasn't looking for opinions on my kitchen lighting anyway. Okay. I am in such a good mood. I am a refreshed woman. I spent a week in Florida. It was rejuvenating. Wasn't even like on vacation the whole time. I was working there. I worked for about half the time I was there. It was just fabulous. We are starting in, first of all, we're going to get outside. That's the other thing. It's a gorgeous day. It's supposed to get up to like 50 today, and this week I think we're going to see a 57 tomorrow or the next day. Now this is false spring. We are going back down to 30 right away next week. Next weekend we'll be back at like 30 or lower. So this is a flash in the pan, but it does give me the opportunity to get a few things done in the yard that I really need to get done, which scratches a certain itch. Also, gardening season kind of starts for me now. So I've been waiting to start seeds and do a few other things because I didn't want to leave for a week in the middle of all that. So last night, we got home yesterday, and last night, or yesterday afternoon, I pulled out a few of my buttercup dahlias, which I want to take cuttings from because I want more of them. And I got those going. I have a video on how to do that. I will link it below for you. So you can watch that. I did exactly what I did in that video. Obviously I just started them yesterday, but I will proceed in exactly that manner. So that was exciting. I'm excited to do some seed starting soon. Snapdragons are first on the list for me. So I don't know if that'll get to that today or not. A little side note. Last year I tried the paper pots from Garden Answer. I like it a lot because I think it's very similar to growing in soil blocks. I like growing in soil blocks, except I find the whole process quite fiddly and quite time consuming. So that's why I sort of stopped growing in soil blocks. So this is sort of like halfway between a pot and a soil block, but you still get the air pruning. And last year what I was doing, because those paper pots were not meant for standard trays, I just cut off a row on the side and a row on the end, and they fit perfectly. Well then, the Garden Answer folks got really smart, and they had the company, which by the way, side note, I found that company a couple of years ago because I was going to try to sell those. They had the same idea I did because originally Gardener Supply was carrying them, and then Gardener Supply stopped carrying them or wasn't carrying all the parts. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to sell those. Well, I found the company, and it was like impossible to deal to. I never got any farther than that. Every time I tried to contact them, nothing happened. I couldn't get anything going. So kudos to Erin and Laura and their team for getting through that barrier and working with that company. I'm really glad they did. So they had them create a proprietary size that fits a standard 10 by 20 tray. Unfortunately, so as I was saying, unfortunately, I ordered that size. I did not read the description well. And in the regular ones, which were in bigger pots, there were 50 cells. In the new ones, there's 55 cells, which means the cells are like noticeably smaller. Now, I haven't used them yet. I wish I would have known that. I just would have bought more of the regular sized ones and cut them again because I really liked that bigger size, because I think most of the things I grow, I'm going to have to pot them up now. Before, I thought those cells, I mean, I don't know what they were, but I would say those cells were like this, 2.5 inches maybe. And I thought those were big enough that I didn't have to repot anything. These other ones are more like maybe 1.75 inches or less. I'm just guessing measurements right now. I'm sure you can find the real measurements on the website, but I think that's too small. I think a lot of things are, like, especially things like snapdragons that you know, I mean, some of these things need some growing. I think a lot of those things are going to need potting up. And that's sort of my whole thing is I really want to try to avoid that extra work of having to pot things up when I'm able to. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Let me just let the dog out quick. So I'll let you know how, and then I also threw away the spreader bars because I remember finding them in the middle of winter during like a massive cleaning session going, I don't know what the heck these things are. I don't need this crap anymore. And I threw them away. So now I need to get more spreader bars. Okay. I'm going to show you something I brought home from Florida and an update on another plant before we go outside and walk around the garden because I suspect we might have some spring things starting to pop up and I have not seen those yet. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to take you for a little bit of a stroll through the Naples Botanical Garden, which I visited when I was down in Florida. But before we get to that, I have a very important piece of mail here. This is part of the Postcard project where I have you guys write in what gardens you've visited and share your inspiration from them so we can all enjoy. And this particular piece, this lovely person has sent this, I think, 3 times because it has been all over the world. So actually this is one of the times it was mailed. This is another time it was mailed. And it got all lost in the shuffle because my post office box is in Belgium, Wisconsin, which really apparently confuses the overseas post offices. So, okay, this is from Charmaine. Hi, Erin. I've been trying to get this information to you. It kept going everywhere. Except hope this time is the charm. It ended up in Denmark and Belgium, England, back to Northern Ireland. So, Charmaine, you get like every bit of gold star for just continuing to try to get this to me. I'm now volunteering at Hillsborough Castle and Garden. It is a lovely place / garden to visit. This is from Charmaine. Also says, P.S. I love your YouTube channel. I hope you're watching, Charmaine. Thank you for sticking with it. I really appreciate it. So here is postcard. Greetings from Ireland. So this is the 200-year-old avenue of intertwined beech trees on the approach to Grace Hill House in Ballymoney. I'm sure that's not the Irish way to say that. County, Antrim, Northern Ireland. The trees were used in the filming for Game of Thrones. And then Charmaine also sent along, I think this is the original postcard. Hi, Erin. Hope you and your family are well. The map and pictures are the garden to the home of His Royal Highness King Charles stays in when he visits Northern Ireland. I enjoy walking around and visiting this garden in all the seasons. It's worth the visit if you're ever in Northern Ireland. It's beautiful to visit. P.S. There are lovely cafes and beehives too. I buy the honey, fruit, veg, and flowers to take home after my visit when they are available. So this was originally, you guys, June 20th is the first time Charmaine tried to send this. So this is Hillsborough Castle, which since June when she first tried to send this, now she's volunteering there. I visited and walked the garden, all true to the season, especially when I am seeking peace, silence, and to breathe. Gardens hit the best note in our lives, Charmaine. So that is beautiful. This is the State Hall entrance at Hillsborough Castle. And then, thank you, Charmaine, sent the map. By the way, when I visited the Naples Botanical Garden, they didn't want to give us a map. They said, scan it with your phone. And it was $27 to get in. And so we said, could we please have a map? Which we got after requesting it twice. Anyway, here's the map. God, I love these maps. So cool. Anyway, Charmaine, you're the best. Thank you so much for sending that. Ireland, I mean, my name is Erin Shannon, you guys. If I don't get to Ireland, it's a crime, right? I need to get there, and I would love to visit that. So thank you for sharing that so much, Charmaine. I really appreciate it. A couple of quick updates before we go outside and walk away. I can't remember if I think I shared this in a video. I brought up, so first of all, in fall, I showed you how I was saving pelargoniums, annual, well, they're not even really annual, are they? I guess they are. Geraniums in 3 different ways. And one of those ways was to just put them, tip them upside down and throw them in the cold, dark storage. And I brought up a few of them to pot them up so I would have a little floral display on the kitchen table. And they just were roots. But I want to show you the update on them. Look, while I was gone, nice leafing out on all of them. It worked perfectly. And my God, it was so easy, you guys. I'm like, this is the plan for pelargoniums for me forever, because I have a few of them that I have saved in pots. And I think this was just, like growing them as houseplants. Well, one of them, unfortunately, I lost the cool scented geranium I have, and I don't know what it was. Lost all those. And then there was another River Dune, right? That one is actually overwintering in my office, and it's fine, but I think it's probably less stress for them to do this. So look at how nice they look. So huge success on this method of throwing them basically in a cold, dark place. I still have more down there, and I'll be bringing those up, but I don't think I need to get them going quite yet. I don't need to tend all these. I just wanted these for on the kitchen table. The other thing I want to show you is the plants I brought home from Florida. So you know that sometimes I made a whole video about this, but sometimes I stick plants in my carry-on, which you can totally do unless you are going into a place that has very strict rules about what you can bring in. But I have never been asked a question, ever. This is Farfugium gigantica. I got this at the Botanical Garden. It was $25, which isn't cheap, but it's not actually a ton of money. This is not hardy for me. This is hardy down to zone 7 and maybe 7B, according to Plant Delights. So I knew I wouldn't be able to find it, but you can grow this as a house plant, and it's a really nice shade plant. So my hope is to keep this going, grow it in a container probably in summer, bring it back in. I wish it would be, if it does, like, I'm probably dooming it by even suggesting something like this. But if I could get more or bulk it up so I would have a bunch more, because I would love a whole bunch of this in a big container, that would be beautiful. Anyway, the leaves are a little crinkled from being in my backpack, but actually she traveled really well. Moist soil, it wants to be consistently, well draining, but consistently moist. And shade-ish, although a lot of what I've been reading about suggests that a couple hours of sun are actually good for it. So I've got like the perfect spot for that. So that is what I brought home from Florida. I was saying that I didn't think $25 was, that's kind of expensive, except that since this won't be available for me to buy here, I will have to order this plant if I want it. And so by the time you pay shipping, that's a bit of a bargain. So that's what I brought home from Florida. Okay, let's walk around in this beautiful outdoors. At the end of the video, we will be walking around the Naples Botanical Garden. So if you don't feel like looking at gray landscapes and you just want like a little shot of tropical goodness, you can skip down to there. All right, we are outside. The sun has warmth. If you live somewhere where it gets really cold, like these days are like such amazing gifts. Mr. Much More Patient tried to go to the car wash yesterday for both of our cars. And he said it was not even worth going because it was so crazy. So he got up early, got an early start today to get a spot at the car wash. Our cars are extra dirty, not just from the salt, because they've been just laying down salt like crazy here, but because like one of the biggest data centers in the world is like being built like 5 miles from our house, and so we have to drive through the construction for that. I have to drive through the construction for that twice a day, and it is so muddy and so filthy and obnoxious for a lot of reasons. I did do some tree pruning yesterday. I filmed that. There's gonna be more tree pruning today. And by the way, big note, it's time to get on it, because even here apparently they're starting to tap maple trees. So like a lot of these trees, you want to prune them before the sap starts running, and so I am really up against it actually. So today I'm gonna get the hornbeam hedge done, and I did a bunch yesterday, which I'll show you. when we get there. So the main thing I want to do is first I want to head over to the mound because somebody who's in my area on Instagram posted a picture of a snowdrop yesterday. And I am so hoping we can walk over here and we might see some bulbs coming up in the bulb lawn. Well, I don't want to walk too much on here in case. Is that a shell? Is this a snail shell? What the hell is that? Oh, look, is that, I'm assuming it's a snail shell? What else? Is that weird? Okay, there's shells all over the place, you guys. Here's another shell. What the hell? You guys, why are there shells all over? Did I use some? I'm trying to think if, you know what I bet? I did buy some topsoil to, there's shells all over the place on here. It's just weird. I bought some topsoil to fill in the holes after we planted, bagged stuff. And I'll bet you any money there was, look at this. These are all like seashells. I bet you there was, you know, they used some that must have come from that. That is a bizarre experience. Okay, I see absolutely nothing coming up. Like I said, I don't want to tread too much, but I see, I can't remember if we put down grass or not. Because really we need to fill in the grass here. I don't see anything. This is a video of me showing you a pile of nothing. Oh, they'll come. I just thought. I was just really hoping we would have that little sign of spring, but I'm going to say there's absolutely nothing to look at here. Bummer. Okay. Well, there you go. There's that. I haven't seen the garden for a while. I see we've got some sticks that have fallen here. I haven't really talked a lot about the dead hedge that I have been building over the last few years, but I'm moving it. So when I move it, we can do a video on the dead hedge. So this is a little soft serve Chamaecyparis. And really it gets zero attention, and we've had it in this deer cage here for a year now, but it came very small. It's actually putting on a good amount of growth. It was really small when we got it, so I just want to protect it. I think this is a forsythia it's a terrible forsythia. It was here when we got here. It's terrible. It doesn't get enough sun to actually do anything. It's an old variety. And every year I cut it back, and because I can't dig it out because it's like huge. So here it is again. That's great. I did prune the Cornus moss a little bit yesterday. Well, I'll show you when we get over there. And I will bring a couple of those branches in to try to force them, which I've done successfully in the past. Other thing on the agenda today is to do a dormant oil spray on the crabapple, Belgian fence in there, and the apple trees and the pear tree. That would be great. Now that the snow is like mostly melted, by the way, the ground is still obviously frozen solid. I am worried about a few things like this. This is thunderhead, Pinus thunbergia thunderhead. But these needles are not loose. So I'm hoping maybe this is just a bronzing, a winter bronzing. Hopefully that's, because down here, like this, like those needles are coming out. So that's a regular needle shed to be expected on something. So I'm assuming this is just bronze needles. I hope so. Hope it comes out of that. This is the Cornish moss that got a little pruning. Here, I'll show you these branches. So, not the branches that I pruned. Stop. Branches that I pruned. This is the buds on them. Don't have a ton of buds on them because they just weren't, up there where there's a lot of flower buds. But I will cut a few of what's there. It doesn't hurt, and it's so nice to have that little jolt of spring. Boy, I have to tell you, I cannot believe how much that thing has grown. Planted in 2020, right? 2020, yeah. May of 2020. And we did buy a big one to begin with, but I guess we're coming up on 6 years now. I guess time is flying. Maybe that's not that impressive. Maybe when you figure out that it's 6 years, somehow 2020 seems 2 years ago to me. And 2000 is certainly not 20 years ago. I have to, these are Haas halos and pinky pollen ring hydrangeas. So we'll get to pruning those. I'm not going to do hydrangea pruning yet. That is not my priority right now. Priority is definitely tree pruning. I did a little bit of shrub pruning yesterday too, but hydrangeas, that can wait. There's no rush on that, but the trees really need to get done. So, especially since we're getting cold again. But sorry, that light is quite obnoxious right there. Oh, and I haven't done any, obviously, have not done any rose pruning yet. This rose right here, this is Rise Up Lilac Days. Just gone berserk. Really quite good given my history of being a terrible rose grower. So that'd be good if I got to that, but that can wait too. So priority is trees, and then we'll deal with shrubs. Like I said, the ground is still absolutely completely frozen solid. So there's no kind of digging that can happen. But when it can happen, as we mentioned, if you saw last Sunday's video, this willow's coming out, and I will start to just cut the soil kind of far around it to start working on cutting those roots. I would like to save it if I can, but if I can't, that's okay too. But it would be nice to do that. And the same thing for this blue globe spruce as well. So I'd like to create a nice root ball on those and attempt to save those, but we'll see. And then over here, where we get out of the terrible light here, this is where we need to take after the hornbeam hedge. For primarily the hornbeam hedge pruning at this point, these are the first ones here that I planted. Let's see if I can point the camera this way so you can actually see down the line. Yeah, there. So primarily I'm pruning for height here because I do want to keep these at a prunable height. I did get my really nice tripod ladder last year, which makes a big difference. I also prune them. I tend to just kind of nip them in a little bit because I want to keep them, I don't want them to get too wide. So that's sort of the MO. And then when we get down here, well, there's going to be, I'm sure I'm going to talk about this in the video, so I don't need to go into this a lot. But when we get down here, this is the newer batch. So those are primarily just pruning in a little bit on the edges to try to bulk up that growth a little bit. This, gosh, everything looks so much different after you've been away and after the snow melts. This is a spring grow of arborvitae, which Darwin, which you can tell is actually looking really, really good. I actually think Spring Grove is a beautiful, beautiful tree. It is, we planted it because it was deer resistant. It is not. You can see that we didn't prune it like that. The deer did. And actually the deer could eat more of it, and you can tell that they have. So this is, you see they started going up, and then like that branch, I have to cut that branch off because they just, they obviously hung on this branch and just like, here, I'll show you underneath there. So they obviously just ripped that branch down here that's hanging here. So I'll do a little bit of corrective pruning to get rid of that. But I mean, they could eat these bits. So maybe it's not their favorite, because it would not be too hard for them to stand on their back legs and get that. So last year, I moved our refuse pile to here. That was not a great, wish I hadn't done that. So I think we're gonna grab borrow a little tractor to flatten that a little, which is kind of what we do anyway with them. It's amazing. So I have a compost pile, as you know, over by the vegetable garden, but all of the things that I don't want in my compost pile. So weeds that are not super noxious, like if I do something like lily of the valley or creeping bellflower, those go in the garbage can, or garlic mustard, those all go in the garbage can. But anything else, other weeds, I do not put in my compost pile. So they go into this pile over there. And same thing with like, just anything that will break down, but I don't want in my compost pile goes over there. I would say over here, this is a pretty dire looking situation. Clearly, I think the soft caress mahonia. Well, I'll cut it back. We think it's gone. This is, oh boy, this is a new, boy, you can't even tell what it is, but that's one of the new oak leaf hydrangeas from Proven Winners. Something globe ball. I forget what it's called, but anyway, I hope that guy comes through. It should be hardy. And then of course we've got, I'll end up at some point pruning back these Haas halos, and of course the clematis and stuff. Although I do find that the clematis are often mostly pruned. See, look, these are mostly pruned already. The rabbits come through and they bite them off at ground level. So most of my clematis pruning is actually usually done by the rabbits for me, whether I want it to be or not. I think we're going to wrap up the Wisconsin portion of this, and we are going to just stroll around Naples. I don't think there's any commentary. I did wear a microphone during it, but I don't think I was saying anything interesting, so I'll probably just cut the audio out and throw on a little background music, which if you don't want to listen to it, you can just mute it. And so you'll enjoy a little bit of the tropics, which was really nice. All right, have a great day in your garden, everybody. Enjoy the Florida bit if you're sticking around for that, and we'll see you soon.